For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
The number one source of friction in your engine is not what you think. Piston rings rubbing against the cylinder walls generate more friction than any other part of the engine. More friction and temperature means more wear and less horsepower. Fortunately, the team at Total Seal knows how to reduce friction and wear through innovative piston ring design. If it takes a piston, Total Seal can build a better ring.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio is back. I'm Joe Castello, and thank you so much for joining us once again. We've got a great show. We're in the midst of a great week, all kinds of greatness going on. We're getting ready for the Super Bowl, all kinds of good stuff. And the world of drag racing is awakening and all kinds of good stuff going on. So we're going to cover a lot of that. We got the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, going to be joining us on this show, as well as Angelle. That's right, Angelle Sampey. Riding with the Michalik Brothers this year. That's kind of cool. Came out of nowhere, but not really. And we're going to speak with Angelle about her. You know, she's got a full season ride. She's going after a championship, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So stick with us and share the show and push it out there as best as you can, because I think everybody's going to want to hear from Angelle. Before we go any further, you know I do it at the beginning of each show, right? Like you might not need them right now, but there will be a time when you need these guys and you think to yourself like, hey, I heard about them on WFO, like Bernie's.com, Bernie Speed Shop, BURNYZZ.com. What I am doing with this spot leading into the Gator Nationals is letting everybody know about that big fan fest. You can go see the 100,000 square feet all on your own. Drivers are going to be there. This is Wednesday before the Gators. It's going to be great. But they do frame-off restorations. They do movie cars. They sell e-bikes. They've got a lot going on out there in Bernie's. Just follow them on social media, and you'll see that they're doing a great job. They sell on consignment. So if you got a classic exotic or muscle car, you can go to Bernie's, and they'll make it happen for you. BURNYZZ.com. Foggit, Foggit, Foggit. I was with Gary Stinnett this past weekend in Ames, Oklahoma. We went out to the Hajek Motorsports Museum to Foggit all their cars, the classic amazing cars. We're talking about the original Bob Glidden Fairmont. We're talking about Gap and Roush Pintos. We're talking about the GT90 Ford supercar, all one-off amazing pieces of history. And Brent said it. He goes, we got cars from Bonneville and Pomona and NASCAR and Daytona. And one thing they've got all in common is Foggit. And it's as simple as that. Protect the inside of your engine. You protect the paint, you protect the glass, you protect the interior. But what about that cylinder wall finish? Foggit, available at Summit Racing Equipment, available at Amazon, and available at Foggit.com. We welcome CWT Industries this year. It's so great to have Randy Neal on board with WFO Radio. You machine shop guys, you got an old school balancer. It's been around for a long time. A lot of ground has been covered. And the process is a lot quicker and it's a lot more automated. A couple of buttons, a couple of switches. Next thing you know, this thing is balanced. If it rotates, it can be balanced. Turbochargers, superchargers. If it rotates, it can be balanced. And maybe you're not an engine builder. Maybe you work in the earth moving field, right? Big Caterpillar 3500s. They have balanced machines for all of this. Go to CWTindustries.com to find out more. Very excited about that. Phillips Connect. Phillips-Connect.com, smart trailer technology, Mr. Epler, all these connected sensors so that you know the vehicles that you own are going over the road. They're going over the road safe. They've got their tire pressure. They've got their brake pressure. Their lights are all on. The load is still in there. All of these things, smart trailer technology. If you would like a personalized introduction, I can make it happen. Joe at WFOradio.com. And that goes for all of our sponsors, like Total Seal Piston Rings as well. Just posted a new Hidden Horsepower with Waddell Wilson and Lake Speed, talking about classic NASCAR. This guy's won like 7 Daytona 500s as a crew chief and an engine builder. Pretty amazing. All an exercise in ring seal. Like, why is it important? The technology has advanced. TotalSeal.com. Call Keith Jones. Call Lake Speed, and they'll hook you up. They'll get you up to speed big time. Lake Speed will get you up to speed Big time. Later on in the show, we'll tell you about Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. We'll tell you about Marvin Rodak, and we'll tell you about samtech.edu, plus the rest of our partners who are making it possible. But right now, let's go out to Tucson, Arizona, and the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart. What's up, Alan? How are you? Hi.
Hey, Joe. I'm great. Just another beautiful day in paradise out here, and making Hemi progress and making other progress and counting down the days until I can go racing.
Counting down the days. Do you have an official date of your first event? Is it the Baby Gators? No?
No, there's actually a Phoenix double divisional before the Baby Gators. So unless something happens between now and then, that'll be my first. I'll go to Phoenix for a big double up there and get to see the debut of Maddie Gordon. I'm really looking forward to that.
Very exciting. Very exciting. All right. So we got Angelle on the show. We're going to find out about range and the Michalik Brothers deal and how it all came together. Super excited. I want to say, thank you to everybody out there in the audience, Scott and Jim. Thank you so much. Jim Essex, everybody is kind of piling on here. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And, on with the show. But something you can do for me is share the show and drop a comment on YouTube. That is very important. Look at this. Scott Hamilton says, we fogged it last night. I wonder what that means. I'm sure he's talking about the engine. Selena, Eddie, everybody is out there. We've got a big audience and everyone's excited. JP Gutierrez is out there. Everybody is excited that Alan Reinhart is on the show. They're excited. All right, Alan, big news. Let's get into it before Angelle comes on. Billy running a full season with Steve Torrance. That's big news. Lucas Oil re-signing, multi-year deal. That's big news. The avalanche of big news, positive news for NHRA Drag Racing continues.
Yeah, I think the Billy news was kind of a surprise, I think, to a lot of people, because while we certainly figured he'd be out to run an event or two, I don't know that anybody saw it on the wall that he was going to come back and make the commitment to run the full schedule. So I think that's great. I mean, another full-time car out there, which makes it just that much more difficult to qualify to win. We know what kind of equipment he's got and what kind of reputation he's got out there. He's won races before, and he ain't coming out here just to sit around and have fun. I promise you that. He's coming out here to do some more winning. So I think that's certainly big news. Lucas, the long-standing relationship that Lucas has had with NHRA, I think has been beneficial to both. The growth of Lucas Oil Products over the years and all of the different stuff that they do and all of the different stuff that they're into. I don't want to say NHRA was first, but if we weren't first, we were pretty close to first. And we've gone along for the ride. They certainly have been great supporters of NHRA on the sportsman side of things and different programs. So I think that's wonderful news. Thanks to Morgan, thanks to Katie, and to everybody out there. Brandon Bernstein, of course, who oversees so many of the marketing programs for Lucas. I think that the fact that they continue to see value in NHRA after all these years is terrific. And welcome. We're glad to have you. Glad to have you for an extended period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you think about the program has worked well for Lucas. There was a time, and I know you have an anecdote about it. Like we did not know exactly what Lucas was years ago. There were all the big mainstream companies, and then Lucas Oil came on board. But their support of Lucas Oil Drag Racing cemented it. And now we know their products. They've got loyalty and the auto parts stores. You go in there if you're going to get something. If you support, we call Lucas Oil Drag Racing, aka Sportsman Racing, you're picking up Lucas Oil. And now, they're the stadium sponsor for the Colts. They've gotten so big with their involvement. But I really think, I don't want to claim all the credit for the Sportsman Racer, but I really think the Sportsman Racer as a foundational aspect of their marketing program has been great because most people support their sponsor.
Oh, I agree. And I think, the first time I saw Lucas Oil on the side of a car, I literally asked somebody, what is Lucas Oil? Never heard of it. At the time, Lucas was basically, they were in truck stops. If you were in the heavy trucking industry, you were familiar with Lucas, their additives and some of the other things that they made for trucks. And then they started branching out, and the realization that some of the stuff they make, I don't know. I can't be the only one that remembers, the little wind to gear thing that was on the counter of the auto parts store. right?
Yeah,
You wind the one
absolutely.
that's got regular oil in it. You see how much the oil climbs the gears, and then you wind the one that's got Lucas in it, and you see how tacky the oil is and where it stays where it is. And the fact that, it's good for engines that are going up and down the road, but not only that, it's really good, I think, for engines that don't run all the time. Like you use Foggett to put on the top of the engine if the thing's going to be sitting for a while. Well, if it's going to be sitting for a while, it's going to start dry, right? I mean, that's just the fact. All the oil is going to drain back in. But Lucas Oil Stabilizer will help keep some of the oil and some of the lubricants up in the engine. I mean, I'm not just a spokesman.
He owns the company?
I'm a
user. There it is. There it is.
The synthetic oil stabilizer, I put in the Hemi because we know that this engine isn't going to be running every day, right? It's not going to necessarily be starting to have oil splashing around in the thing every day. So if it's going to be sitting for weeks or months in between fire ups, because it's basically just a cackle engine, I want to know that there's going to be some lubrication on the bearings. There's going to be some lubrication on the lifters the first time that it cranks up after sitting for a while. And so that's why I dropped a quart of Lucas in there when I filled it up with oil.
Yeah, I think it's great, and we need them to be on board, and they are, and it's exciting how they were able to get back. And I know Brandon does a great job, and just excited to have Lucas Oil back. And who else could better do that program, right? Like, I mean, I would love for to continue to grow, but I just think they're a perfect fit. But anyway, congratulations. Regarding Billy, I think that it's so hard to have like good quality part-time guys, Alan. Right? Like, why do you think this happened? I think it's very, almost impossible to get the kind of guys that Billy wants to be his guys to be part-time guys, because you got to have a job. Either you're going to go run for a championship and be a full-time racer and get paid to do it, or you're going to have a job and be home. It's just so hard to do both at a very high level. And so to me, it kind of makes sense for Billy to give it a ride for the full season here in 2024. You'd hire his guys. They set up a 2-car team, and I think it's going to benefit Steve as well for all that, extra data. You're going to have Billy out there every race. They're going to have 2 cars, double the data, and what I would call, like stability. They know what they're doing at every race.
Well, I think, you mentioned Steve, and I think that's a big part of the equation. They came out, they won 4 championships. They were very close to winning 5, and then kind of backed up a little bit. They were looking for a new combination. They were doing some experimenting, and they kind of gave up the position they had at the top of the heap. Well, it's been a couple of years now, and I think Steve wants it back. I think, all of the Capco boys do. And I think that you look at, we still need to do some experimenting. We still need to learn things. We still need to try things. But we can't give up races and give up time to do it. There's just not enough time in the season to get behind and then come back and try to catch up. So with Billy out there, I think that's going to, as you said, gives them more data, gives them more learning experience, and gives them a chance to do their experimenting. Because for whatever reason, and we've seen it years and years and years, people have tried to clone cars, right? We've got one car that runs really good. Okay, let's just make a duplicate of it, and poof, it'll run really good too. But it doesn't work. And the Capco boys seem to have found, whatever the magic dust was to make that happen, because they could bring Billy's car out at a time and basically clone Steve's, and it ran well. It ran front of the field. It won races. It did what it was supposed to do. So if they can keep that formula, then that would be a perfect opportunity for them to experiment. If they want to try different stuff in the clutch, or if they want to try different stuff in the engine, or if they want to, without taking away from Steve's program. If you find something that works, you can transfer it over to Steve's car, but they don't have to go out there and give up, 2 or 3 races while they're trying to work on, something else. They could use Billy to do that. And I think that, I'm purely speculating here. I haven't spoken to anybody, but I really think that that's part of the equation. We still need to learn. We still need to do R&D, but we can't do that with our race car. We've got to have another one out there. And I'm sure it was, please, Mama Kay, please, Mama Kay. And she finally said, well, okay.
It's funny about that. I was having a conversation this past weekend about Mama Kay Torrance and how, she's on the down low, right? Like everybody talks about her owning the team and inside the team. And I don't know that everybody fully understands that that's absolutely the truth. And also in the world of featuring diversity stories. 4-time female owner, Top Fuel world champion, Mama Kay Torrance, has gotten zero play within, I feel like, drag racing media. That's a story that's ripe. Think about Roger Penske, just won the Rolex 24, first time in 55 years since 1969. He's 86 years old. Roger Penske, as an owner, gets endless love for his role as an owner. Roger Penske, it's just a thing. Think about Kay Torrance, what she has done with those 4 championships, and just in, I don't want to call it anonymity because that's not true, but there is no search for the spotlight at all. But it's a good story nonetheless.
Well, I think part of the reason for that is because it's a family team. The family that, her son is the one driving the car, her husband now driving the second car. She thinks of Bobby Lagana as another one of her boys. All of the guys that work on the Capco team, she thinks of as, she feeds them. She takes care of them. If one of them's got a problem, they can go to Mama Kay for help. I think she looks at everybody there as a family. And I think that's the difference. You look at Connie Coletta, and yes, his nephew Doug drives one of the cars, but the rest of it is a complete independent business that gets run. And Doug is really the only family member that's there. There are a lot of people that have been there a long time and spent a number of years there, but you look at the Torrances, and because it's a family team, I don't think that, the Mama Kay being the owner necessarily gets singled out, because the Torrance family is the Torrance family. Whether they're in the winner circle or whether they're in qualifying or, whether they're looking for sponsors, it's always kind of the Torrance family, and none of them really get singled out. So I think that's why she doesn't get singled out so much, as sole owner, simply because everybody looks at it as a family operation. Got it.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. All right, so we're waiting on Angelle. She's going to be connecting moments from now. Let's preview that story a little bit, though. 3-time Pro Stock Motorcycle World Champion, George Bryce, who drove an Alcohol Dragster this past weekend at Frank Hawley's, which was maybe not this past weekend, but a week previous. Way to go, George, getting back behind the wheel. Remember, he had run Pro Stock in the past, but he had said that she is the most competitive human being he has ever encountered in his life. And that's pretty impressive. So she's going to get together with the Michalik brothers, who, I think the world of those guys, and they are, for what were part-time team, they did very well. Now they're going to have an opportunity to go out there and run full tilt with Angelle. It's pretty exciting.
It is, and I'm still lobbying for somebody to put up something. I think WFO Radio needs to put up Alcohol Rookie of the Year, because we've got a great crop of rookie drivers in the alcohol ranks. We talked about whether it was last week or 2 weeks ago, but that's going to be something that I'm certainly going to be keeping an eye on. Even though a couple of them that are out there. Hunter Green, for instance, it does have some experience, and yes, he did win Pomona, but he doesn't have enough races under his belt, I don't believe, to be considered a veteran. I think there's going to be a lot of inexperience, let's just put it that way, alcohol drivers that are going to be out there battling it out in good equipment. And I think that would be a fun one to watch. And I think Angelle's going to be right in the middle of it. And again, even though she ran a handful of races last year, I think that, this still being her first full season, she would, under normal circumstances, be considered a rookie in the category. And I think the rookies in the alcohol ranks are going to make a lot of noise this year.
Now, Florida is kind of the center of the universe when it comes to preseason testing and whatnot, especially with what's going on in Bradenton with the Snowbirds, and Lyle Barnett was able to score the win, but you probably were not able to avoid the Todd Moyer 514 273 in a Pro Mod style car, because where are they in terms of rules? But Alan, just try to, it's not an NHRA specific thing, but 514 in a full body car with doors, make sense of it.
It's amazing. And it is a Pro Mod. It's not an NHRA legal Pro Mod, but that doesn't mean it's not a Pro Mod. It's a Pro Mod. There's a reason that they call them outlaws, because just like the world of outlaws, it's a sprint car. It may not be the same sprint car that you see every weekend at your local dirt track, but it's still a sprint car. It's amazing. In this day and age, when records usually get bumped by 100th or a couple of hundredths, or, if somebody drops one a nickel, man, that's a big move. To go 2 full tenths of a second quicker than anybody else has been in a full-bodied suspended car like that is amazing. And I do believe, you look at the data and you look at the stuff, he clicked it off a little bit early. It wasn't going to run, 490, but there was probably another hundredth or maybe a couple of hundredths there if he keeps the thing wide open to the stripe. I think, one, that's amazing. I also think that that's too fast in a car like that. I just really do. I don't believe those cars are going to be stable if you get them going 285, 290 miles an hour. That's strictly my opinion. But what he did out there was amazing, no doubt about it.
Yeah, like insane. And you watch the run and it looked effortless. And that's what the quickest runs are. They look effortless. All right, guys, you want to bring on Angelle? We need you to share the show. Let's make this a big interview. Everybody share and push it out there on the social media. And we're going to bring on, she's a 3-time world champion. She was the winningest female racer in NHRA history. She's trying to get that back. She's joining us now, Angelle Sampey. What's up, Angelle? How are you?
Hey guys, I'm hanging in there. I'm not feeling too well today. Can you hear me okay though?
Yeah, I hear you. You sound fine. You sound loud.
Yeah, I'm good. I've been sick for about a week. I'm at the tail end of it, and I should be better by now. But it's been rough, and both of my daughters are home ill right now. So the whole family's been it's been bad here in Louisiana. But we're hanging in there.
There's something going around, little bug. Yeah. Get it over with. Get it out of the way before the season starts, right? Get that immunity.
Actually, that's exactly what I was thinking about 2 days ago. It just dawned on me that I'm going to be racing soon, and thank goodness this happened now and not in about 3 weeks. So hopefully by the time I get to the racetrack, I'll be back to 100%.
Good. Well, you sound great. Obviously, we don't want to push you too hard, but just super excited about your deal. And I wanted to hear from you and wanted to get you on the show to talk about it, because this is a story that we've been kind of following, the Angelle goes 4 wheels kind of story. And now you got the folks at Range and Case, and it's really coming together. So I wanted to hear your latest, greatest. Let us know.
Yeah, it's exciting. I do want to clarify that my sponsorship with Range, I'm so excited about it. It will be for the race at No Problem Dragway here in Louisiana, which is probably going to be one of the biggest races for me in the history of my career. Even though it's a divisional, local track, it's not a national event. It's pretty big for me because I'll probably have more friends and fans and family there at that race than anyone I've ever had before, because it's local and it's at home and everybody's going to come and watch. And thanks to my neighbor, Billy Lawson, who has been one of the best neighbors I could ever ask for many, many years now. He owns the Range Case and Kubota dealership here in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. And Billy had told me years ago how much he would love to be part of my race team, and that one day he hoped to do that. And it just so happened that, when we mentioned to him that I was going to be racing locally in Louisiana, he really wanted to be a part of it. So he pulled it together, and we got support from his dealership as well as Case and Kubota. And all 3 of them are helping me to get this race in the books. And I'm hoping it's going to be as exciting as I think it's going to be.
No, I think it definitely will. Alan, question for Angelle.
Well, Angelle, you kind of touched on it already. Houston was always kind of known as your home racetrack when you were running in the pro stock motorcycle ranks. And there was always quite a Cajun contingent that came to Houston to root you on. But being home now, did you get enough money from the sponsorship to pay for the tickets that you're going to have to buy? Because I'm sure everybody you met since 3rd grade figures you're going to set them up, right?
Yeah, well, that's what everybody hopes that I would be able to do that. But we have a really good support group down here in Louisiana. The people here are all about what they can do to help you, not what you can do to help them. And so I know they're going to come out by the handfuls and support not only me and our Range dealership that Billy has, but also the local racetrack of No Problem Raceway. It's a beautiful track. And so I'm excited about how many people are coming. I think my brother was a little bit worried about me. He said, Angelle, you do realize how many people are going to show up. Are you going to be okay with this? But yeah, I told him I'm going to be fine. I love hanging out and talking and having a good time with all the fans in between rounds. When I get strapped in the race car, that's the time I'm going to need to be, by myself and get focused. But it's going to be great fun. And I do hope that hundreds and hundreds of people show up and show their support for all of us. So I wanted to elaborate a little bit on the dealership because I'm so proud of what they're doing. You know, they are a sales and parts dealership. You can get brand new tractors, used tractors, you can get everything you need there. But one of the things we're going to do is we're going to have a meet and greet at the Range dealership in Donaldsonville. We're going to do that on Tuesday evening before the race. The race is February 23rd and 24th, I think, Friday and Saturday. The 21st and 22nd, I'll be testing. But that Tuesday before the race, from 4 to 7 p.m., we'll be out at the Range dealership in Donaldsonville. So if anybody's local and can make it out, please come and do so. We're going to do some giveaways. One of the ideas I had, hopefully we can get that all finalized, is we're going to do a drawing for a honorary crew member on Friday and Saturday. So you'll have to come out to the dealership to register for that, and we'll do that drawing that week. And hopefully whoever gets picked will be someone that can actually help us with the race car, not just hang out and hold an umbrella. So we'll see what happens.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Angelle, the Michalik Brothers, talk a little bit about how you got hooked up with those guys. We love them here on WFO, back to the Always a Champion contest where they won $50,000 and then they win in their first race.
Yep.
And there are a couple of it's a great family. It's a great family racing team. And because you guys are now together, they're going to get to do a full season. They've proven they can be quick and fast. It's just about finding the right situation where they can go out and make laps. And now that situation has happened. So I'm happy for them just as much as I'm happy for you. Talk about how that all came together.
Yeah, so last year when we started testing and we were looking for a team to race with at the last 3 races that we were going to, I'm not sure exactly who gave Antron the name of Corey and Kyle, but he went over to them in Charlotte at the end of the year and spoke to them about the potential of me driving the car for Dallas. And fortunately for us, it was available. I had never met Corey or Kyle or anyone on their team before we did our first test session in Indianapolis, but absolutely fell in love with the team. When I got to Dallas and I raced with them, it was the most perfect situation I could ask for. Their team is just so well put together. They are so professional. They have everything that I need as a driver when it comes to, what kind of people I need to surround myself with. They had everything laid out. Corey and Kyle had printed up a paper that was on the wall with a mission statement, what our goal was going to be for the weekend. All the stress was taken away from me, and they just walked me through every single step. The car is immaculate. The guys are on point. There was just nothing more I could ask for when we're looking for a team to, show off to a sponsor and get the financial backing that we need. They had it. We had a lot of fun together. They can be serious, but they can be laid back and fun. Antron and I had the opportunity to travel over to their race shop and meet their family as well just a couple of weeks ago, and that was pretty amazing. So I got to meet the wives and the kids and everybody that's behind the whole team, and they're truly awesome. I'm looking forward to racing the whole season with them. We are still looking for some sponsorship to make it throughout the entire year. We have quite enough to get through most of the year, but I do want to let everybody know that we are still open for any sponsor that would want to join our team and be part of the racing that we're going to do this year. We're going to have a lot of fun, and I have a feeling that we're going to be quite successful as well.
Angelle, what's the goal? I mean, ultimately, everybody starts off and says, right, I want to win the championship. But realistically, I mean, do you believe you're a top 10 team? Do you believe you're a top 5 team? Do you believe, obviously things fall your way. Maybe you run for a champion. But at the end of the year, what do you need to be able to say that was a successful first season? And Joe and I have talked a little bit about the fact that I'm trying to start a alcohol rookie of the year campaign because there are a lot of drivers like you that have got a couple of races under their belt, but this is going to be the first campaign that would be battling for that. So into what I'm calling your rookie season, even though you've stuck your toe in the water a little bit, where do you have to end up at the end of the year for you to say that was a success?
I'm curious now because I was not, when I first started racing pro stock motorcycles in 1996, I raced half the season and I was not eligible for rookie of the year because I hadn't done a full season. And then the next year I wasn't eligible because I had done half a season before. So I kind of screwed myself out of that one. So before I answer your question, would I be eligible for that this year, considering that I did a couple of races last year, or am I screwed again?
Well, technically there isn't one, so I'm just trying to start it. But I'm just figuring Hunter Green. I mean, he's run a couple of races, but he hasn't run a full season. Maddie Gordon, obviously, this is going to be her first year. There's going to be some drivers out there that are taking basically their first full swing at it, and I just think the competition between those of you is going to be something I'm keeping an eye on, even if nobody else pays attention.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that if that were to come to fruition and we had a Rookie of the Year, it'd probably be one of the most difficult ones in any class to ever achieve. This class is crazy. You know, the amount of competition they have with drivers, with crew chiefs, with crew guys. It's unbelievable how hard it is to compete in this class. I mean, I've only been there for 3 races, but I can see it's quite difficult to win a race. So I'd say, you know, to feel like you were successful is just to do well at each race. I don't even think you have to have a win to feel like you're successful, but I do believe we're going to get that. I'm hoping we're going to get multiple wins. I know I have everything I need behind me with AB Motorsports and all the help that comes with Antron's team. You know, we have Mark and Brian looking over us as well, but I do think that Corey and Kyle and all the guys on the Michalik Racing are definitely going to give me everything I need to be successful this year. So my end goal, of course, is to get comfortable enough in the A-Fuel Dragster that I'll be ready to jump into Antron's Top Fuel car. And we have already started discussing that, you know, the possibility of me making some passes around mid-season. At this particular moment, I am not ready for that yet, but I do believe that we're going to get a lot of runs under my belt by the time we get ready to put me in the Top Fuel car, and I think I will be ready then. So that's where I'm basing my success, and the goals that I have is to get comfortable and get ready to move on. But this class is so much fun, and I'm looking forward to it, that I do want to win some races. You know, as everybody's been talking about, Erica did take over the title of the winningest female in motorsports. It would be great fun to give her a challenge with that and maybe grab it back from her and see how many times we could exchange that. So I have a lot of goals this year, and I'm ready to get started, and it looks like that's going to happen sooner than later.
That's exciting. Yeah, Steve Johnson is out there. Good luck in your new endeavor in Top Fuel. It's funny that A-Fuel is amazing, and it's going to be great to watch you on this curve, but I'm glad you addressed that, because everybody wants to know, like, what's the plan? And you said right at the very beginning, you want to go Top Fuel racing, and it's exciting. Yeah. So what about where you are in terms of comfort? Your initial runs were very well publicized. You said, like, oh my gosh, this is totally different coming off the bike, but you had a lot of experiences last year. You beat a number 1 qualifier from the number 16 spot. You got beaten by a number 16 qualifier from the number 1 spot. Like, you had a very compressed learning curve in your limited exposure last year. I'm sure you've done some testing, but you know, where are you right now in terms of your feel and comfort in the car?
Well, I'm looking to get back into the car and see how I'm going to feel, if it's going to be like the bike. You know, I stayed off the motorcycle for 6 years at one time, got back on it, was quite nervous when I did, but it came right back in, just like riding a bicycle. I'm hoping that happens with the car. I only started driving about 6 months ago. I didn't get a whole bunch of seat time, but when the season did end last year, I was extremely comfortable, 100% ready for whatever came along. You know, I had just started trying to pedal the car, which was a little bit easier than I thought. I was pretty nervous about that, but there's still so much that I know I have to learn, the feel of everything. The good thing about racing the car is there's just, I don't know if this is good or bad, but there's so much that can happen. Unlike on the motorcycle, you know, once the crew hands you the bike, it's pretty much all on you. If you're going to if anything's going to mess up, it's 95% chance it's going to be the driver that messed it up, not the motorcycle. And that put a lot of pressure on me. And at the end of the year, or the whole last season of me on the Pro Stock bike, I was sinking in my own pressure, you know, of what I was doing to myself. And I had a very rough year, as we all know. But in the car, I've come to realize that, you know, there's not a whole bunch I can do to mess it up, but I do really have to do everything right. So it takes a little bit of the pressure off of me. I know that a lot of the pressure is on Kyle and Corey and Adrian and all the guys that work on the car, I realized racing the car last year how much the team matters in these car classes. How much what they do matters, and I'm the end result, and I gotta do it right. I gotta get it right. But if something goes wrong, if it shakes the tires or spins the tires, and there was nothing I could do about that, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. It takes a little bit of the pressure off. Am I going to be the one that messes this up? But when I got into the car, it was like I was reborn in drag racing, and I let all the pressure go. And it was like, I'm going to do this just for the fun of it, because it was what Antron asked me to do. And it has become a great passion for me. I never thought I'd want to drive a car, but I'm having so much fun now. And I finally find myself back where I need to be, which is I'm motivated. I want to win, but the pressure's off and I'm having a really good time. And that's what I'm hoping when I get back into that seat in a couple of weeks. I'm hoping that it all comes back. I don't make any mistakes, and I can just get the car straight down the track and have a good time.
Angelle, you guys are planning to hit it pretty hard at the beginning of the year. Am I correct? I know you're going to run the race down at no problem. And
Yep.
then I'm assuming the baby gators, the gators, will you then make the trek out west? Will you come to Pomona and Vegas, or will you take a little break there?
I'm glad you said that, because we will not be making the baby gators. It was originally in our plans. So we're going to start off with the race at no problem in a couple of weeks. We're going to skip the baby gators and go into the Gator Nationals. We will not go out west for those first two, Pomona and Arizona, although I will be there. I will still be working for Mission Foods, and the NHRA is now sponsored by Mission. So I'll still be doing the Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge at all 14 events this year. We did most of them last year. We didn't do the Gator Nationals, and we also didn't do the 4 wides, but we're doing everything but the Gator Nationals, of course. That's where it's going to start, where we will find our competitors for the first race. But I do have a list of the races we will be competing at on my social media pages. I will repost that again to make sure everybody can see exactly which ones I'll be competing at. Right now, we have chosen 10 national events and the one at no problem, but there's 2 or 3 other potential divisionals we want to do. The Night on the Fire in Ohio, the one in Indy. Those are all going to depend on funding. Like I said, we are still working to complete the whole funding that we need for the whole season. Like I said, right now, my range sponsorship is only for the first race. We'll go into the Gator Nationals with lots of support from some great sponsors like FVP, Hank Steffers. Hopefully Getrex will be back on board this year. But we still do need some funding to do the remainder of the divisional races that we're hoping to do. So keeping my fingers crossed that we can tie all that back in and do a complete season, because we do, like we mentioned earlier, we do want to run for a championship. I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself, like I was just talking to, and think about that right now, but we're out there. We're going to go to as many races as we can. And if we can grab a championship, we're definitely after that, but I'm not going to put my main focus on that. My main focus is going to stay on learning to drive this car, accelerating the way I need to accelerate, and move into that Top Fuel car hopefully next season.
Excellent. You mentioned Mission Foods. I know they've been a super supporter of Angelle and drag racing, and they stepped up into the title role as we get ready to start the inaugural Mission Foods Drag Racing Series season. What can you tell fans out there about the way they appreciate the sport that we all love?
They are probably the most racing related sponsor I've ever been involved with. I mean, they sell tortillas and chips and salsa, and it doesn't sound like it would be related to racing, but Mr. Gonzalez is one of the biggest race fans I know, and his whole crew he has working for him at Mission all love racing, and I'm just so thankful that they became such a big part of the NHRA to keep it going. Every sponsor behind the scene counts, and especially when it becomes the main series sponsor. And so my tie-in with Mission started with Pro Stock Motorcycles, which led to my relationship with them and them taking me on board as the spokesperson for the Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge. And now it's gotten even bigger as a series sponsor. So my main job is to work on the Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge race, but I will be there in competition in the Lucas Oil division with the AFL Dragster, but I'll be there hanging out and enjoying the NHRA mission drag races as well. So if you can't make it to a race that I'm competing at, hopefully you'll be at one that I'm working with the challenge. But please come over to the mission booth where we'll have a lot of interaction going on with fans and get to know the company and the products better if you don't already, because let me tell you, I always tell friends and fans and family to support the sponsors that support us. And this is probably one of the best ones we've ever had. This group of people and this company really love racing. So, if you can give your support back to them for what they're doing for us, I'd really appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. Get those chips, baby. Watch parties, chips, guac. We're all going to be a little slower, a little chubbier at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay. Alan, final question for Angelle.
Angelle, for people that don't know, let's leave the racetrack behind for a second. What's life at home in Louisiana for Angelle? What do you do during the winter break? I still refuse to call it an off season, but what keeps you busy when you're not at the racetrack or you're not in the race car?
Well, I'm a regular mom, and that's definitely showing today. Like I said, both my babies are home sick. I have one that was really sick yesterday, running a fever and very upset stomach. I don't want to be too graphic, but it was a nurse/mom kind of day yesterday. My oldest one is home with some really bad sinuses going on. Besides that, I go to the gym every day. That's been slacking the last week because I've been sick, but I'm at the gym every morning training to stay in shape. I like to stay fit, both for my physical health and my mental health, not only because of racing, but because I have a young family. My husband and I run a business together called Champion Aquatics. We do custom saltwater aquariums, and we also build really cool swimming pools. So I do a lot of work with that. Right now it's tax season, as everybody knows. So my main goal at home right now is to get all of our paperwork done for our taxes so we can get that filed soon. So just a typical life. I'm a businesswoman, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a racer, I'm a fitness fanatic. I do not stop. So it's a busy life, but I love it, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
The stress is going now. You have tax season. Hadn't thought of it. Like,
yeah. I got to get that done so I can go racing. Right now, that's my goal. Get the taxes filed so that I can put that aside and focus on racing.
Last year, I filed the extension for the very first time and it was the worst thing I ever did in my life. I'll never do it again because it was just like looming over me all year long. Terrible. Angelle, thank you so much for coming on the show. Always appreciate it. Like, I love this story. Like, we all love this story. It's such a great comeback, next chapter kind of story. One door closes, another door opens kind of story. And of course, Antron there and believing in you and making this happen. Like, it's really exciting to watch you go through this. And so hopefully a lot of people will show up out there at no problem because, Nelson and Marla got good things happening at that track. We love them down there as well. Friends of the show. And just super excited for you to be able to race in front of your hometown crowd. I hope they all show up and nobody asks you for a ticket and they all pay to help support you.
Thank you. Yeah, I did want to say one more thing about you mentioned Nelson and the track. They're redoing everything there, so it's looking really good. I can't wait to see it. I haven't been to it in many years myself, but Antron will also be there with me. So if anybody can make it out and wants to see him, he will not be racing. He'll just be hanging out and helping us with our race team. So that's awesome for me to have his support there, but it's also awesome for any fans that might want to get to know him or meet him that, because when they're racing, it's hard to get to him sometimes, but he'll just be hanging out, having a good old time with me. So we're looking forward to that.
Awesome. Angelle, thank you so much. Feel better, get well, and get rested, and we can't wait to see you on track.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me again.
There she goes, Angelle Sampey.
Bye-bye.
Us here on WFO Radio. How great is that, Alan? She's fired up. The season is getting ready. She's got a new chapter in her life starting, her racing life.
Yeah, I think it's terrific. I mean, you look at all of the components, and I think, as she said, they've got everything they need to be successful, right? I mean, good car, good people, that we know what that car has done in the past, and I think that they're going to be a headache out there for some of the other racers in the Alcohol Dragster ranks. I hope that they can find what they need to get out there and chase that thing for the season, because it'd be interesting to see them, running. I'm not sure. One thing I wish I would have asked her. I'm not sure if they're actually claiming or even chasing a regional championship. But it would be nice to see. It would be nice to see her out there as much as possible, because the fact that she's driving the car is a big plus. But as well as anybody that follows the category, anytime the Michalik Brothers car was on the racetrack, it's just a better race. It's a good quality car no matter who's in it, and the fact that she's in it is even a bigger plus.
Yes, well, exactly. She's one of the best pitch people that we've got in drag racing for many, many years. Certainly, learned at the hands of T. Wayne Robertson and the folks at RJ Reynolds early on, and has carried on through some great things to this day. So she knows how to do it and get the job done. She's got a legion of fans, to say the least. Some other news, Alan. Congruity signs on as NHRA Pro Mod Series sponsor, kind of an HR company, which is kind of different. That's a non-endemic. Excited about that. And the NHRA has really been rolling out at this time of year, the sponsorship announcements are big stuff. We got a first look at the Skag car of Justin Ashley. Just a nice slow burn as we get ready for 2024.
Yeah, and some of the things that I don't think you'd call life-changing news, but Mac Tools extending with Doug Coletta. I think that's terrific, and extending with Coletta Motorsports. Officially, we all knew it was going to happen, I think, but officially Phillips Connect has re-upped their relationship with Justin. And so, there's just a lot of good going on in the sport right now. Over the course of the last few years, we've had good positive momentum. We've had good TV numbers. We've had certainly good attendance and the number of sellout days at the racetrack, and people and corporate people take notice of things like that. So it's great to see, new faces. It's great to see new companies, because every time somebody new comes into the sport, their competitors are all going, is that something we should look at? If they believe that's a positive for their business, is there something there? Do we need to do that to keep up with them? And the more eyes on the sport, the better. Anybody that knows anything about selling knows, if you get 5 customers to come into your store, well, hopefully you make a sale. If you get 100 customers to come into your store, you're going to make some sales, just from people walking in, just from eyeballs, just from coming in and looking. Because even people that don't really come in as an interested buyer, if you can get them to walk through the door, now you've got a chance for them to see something, or you've got a chance to get their attention that you wouldn't have had otherwise. So the more eyeballs that come to the sport, the more people that look at it and go, you know what, this is something we need to do. This is something we need to try. And, welcome one and all. Bring them. Just keep bringing them. Yeah,
I made a little mistake during the interview. I had the Flying Ryan Ayler mission chip pick queued up for Angelle, and I forgot to drop it on her. Oh, well.
You made a mistake by putting it up just then.
No, listen, it's funny, man. It's always comedy. And hey, that must have worked, because they got more involved since Flying Ryan did that. Yeah, lots of great news. Any final thoughts, Alan? I was at the Brent Hajek Motorsports Museum in Ames, Oklahoma, and got to see just some amazing cars, like this one-off GT 90 Petty Race 1 Daytona 500 winners, the Gap and Roush Pinto, Bob Glidden's Fairmont, Tasca's Boss 2029, like the actual historic cars. It was amazing. We were out there using Foggit on all of these cars just to keep the rust out of the combustion chamber. But that's how I spent my weekend. You got any thoughts, any final thoughts for the folks out there?
No, it's been beautiful in Arizona here. We had a little bit of rain last week, but it's going to be beautiful this week. If you've got a car that you can put the top down on in Arizona, in Southern Arizona anyway, you should have it down. I fired up the Hemi for the first time on Saturday, and so just had a 4-barrel carburetor on it, but wanted to start it, make sure it had good oil pressure and all that worked. So it's behind me now. It's got the blower manifold on it. You can see the blower sitting over there on the chair.
Move your head. Move your head one more time. Well, look at that. Very nice. You got a can of something sitting on there. What is that?
Foggit.
There it is. Get the product placement, Alan, or is that just you're just actually using it?
I do use it. I mean,
Yeah.
we started the engine. It's probably going to be a couple of months at least before it starts again. And so in the meantime, I'm going to be working on it. I'm going to be doing stuff to it, and certainly don't want any of the corrosion to start. So blast a little fog it down in there before we took the manifold off of it, and there it sits. But no, I'm continuing with that project and continuing to kind of feel my way through it and learn various things about the classic Hemis that I didn't know, which has been pretty interesting. As a matter of fact, I got a deal that was in my mailbox today from Herb McCandless. Oil systems for the RB Hemi.
Oh, wow.
The stuff that they did back in the day. When I talked to him about, finding the blocked off oil patch. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Everybody did that. Okay. So he sent me this, and this is, actually on Chrysler letterhead. So I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I'm really looking forward to that. And I say it's been a learning experience. So just kind of enjoying things down here before it fires off in earnest. I will be at the Phoenix Double Divisional in a couple of weeks, and then home for a day, and then baby gators, and then gators, and then off we go. Oh, on a personal note, and just because I'm kind of proud of this, Austin Coyle is going to be inducted in the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America in Daytona Beach this year, and he asked me to do the induction for him, and so I'm really looking forward to that. The program they have together at the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America is pretty amazing, and being invited to be a part of that is pretty special. So
didn't you just do Terry Vance a couple of years ago?
I did. Yeah, I did. And the experience was amazing. What they do, and the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America is actually housed at Daytona International Speedway. So there are a lot of people that are not necessarily drag racing people that get exposed to. And from an exclusivity standpoint, what they do every year, they'll have like one driver from open wheel, one from NASCAR, one from drag racing, one from the motorcycle world. It's a pretty exclusive club to get into. So Austin being inducted, he was very proud to get that honor. And when he called me and asked me to do the induction, I'm very proud to do that. So I'm looking forward to that. Anytime you've got an excuse to visit Daytona is a good one. Yeah,
very, very exciting. Gary says he can't wait to see the CUDA on the street. Everybody's excited about the CUDA. He's like out of control with this. He's very out of control over this. Great job, Alan. That's awesome. And Austin Coyle, right? Who is more deserving to go into that Hall of Fame than Austin Coyle? Not too many people. And that's going to be exciting to watch. Last year we had Daryl Gwynn go in there, and I remember watching the stream. And the drag racers are always a rowdy bunch when they go out there. I don't want to say that everybody else is a little reserved, but the drag racers definitely make the most noise. So I'm excited to see that all play out. Alan, great job as usual. Thank you so much for joining us here on WFO Radio. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe. My pleasure. I will see you next week. And if any breaking news comes up, I'm sure I'll talk to you before then.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. There he goes. The voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, joins us each week right here on WFO Radio. All right, guys, put your comments in the comments section. Let's see what you got to say about Angelle, the latest news, what's going on, what do you think, and all of that stuff. And I'll showcase some of the photographs I took out there at the Hajek Motorsports Museum just to share them with you guys. The Patreons got to see them early in the week. Our Patreon brothers and sisters, they got to see everything early on and first, which was kind of cool. But I want to tell you about a couple more people that make it possible for me to go WFO, like my coffee guy, Marvin Rodak, 817-924-6821. Best coffee from around the world. Simple as that. Best coffee from around the world. It's not that frozen vacuum packed stuff you get at the store that Bonnie buys. This is the best farms, the best plantations from all around the world. They send him the coffee and he blends some of it. He makes like the Bang the Blower, the Stampede Speed blend, all these different blends, the WFO Radio blend. But it's an extra sensory experience that you can only truly understand if you order some coffee from Rodak. 817-924-6821. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. George Bryce going out there to hang out with Frank Hawley. Super cool. They had the Pro Stock Motorcycle School years ago, but he said he had a bucket list. And I learned this from his Facebook page. But just so great to see so many people go out and spend time with Frank. You can too. They have a program called the Dragster Adventure. In addition to Top Alcohol, Dragsters, and Super Comp and Super Gas and all of that, you can go on the Dragster Adventure. And it's more of a single day, half day fun experience. an adrenaline rush where you have to have zero experience. You're not getting your license. You're making 3 runs down the track, but they put you in a dragster. You show up with the clothes on your back and you leave with the experience of a lifetime. And they travel around. They travel around with the Dragster Adventure. So you don't necessarily have to go flying in to Gainesville, Florida. They bring the program to you. It is very, very cool. And then there's samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology, the next generation of machinists coming up through Samtech. They've got block programs, head programs, motorsport EFI tuning, definitely someplace you want to go. Patreons, we are closing in on 100 Patreons. That's amazing. It's a miracle. They get to hear it from Heiner Show. They get Monday Motivation. They get early access from some of our content. And it's really its own little universe. If you sign up for a year, I'll send you a t-shirt along with your stickers and your patch and your decals and all the Patreon swag. You can get there at patreon.com/WFO Radio. Plus, the sponsors who you've come to know and love that bring this thing together. It's been pretty amazing. Whether it be Total Seal or FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters, the folks at Foggit learned so much about Foggit this past weekend. Bernie's Speed Shop, CWT Industries, Phillips Connect, all on board with WFO Radio. We appreciate them. You know, CWT, they make these balance machines with these incredible digital screens, and they work so efficiently. Pretty amazing stuff. We'll be learning a little bit more about their products as well. I want to share some of the photos. This is a car that Carl Tasca drove to high school. It's because Boss 429 in there. Think about that. Yeah, I'm going to go drive it to high school. And you can see some of the amazing paintwork. The hue of the color is actually different at the very front of the car, and it slowly transitions. Pretty awesome. The Gap and Roush Pinto, the actual car that ran up against Grump for a championship, and it's just sitting there on the floor. Richard Petty. You got the Bill Elliott. You're looking at the hood of the Bill Elliott Talladega speed record car. You got an Earnhardt, a couple of Earnhardt cars there. Brent Hajek Motorsports Museum, Ames, Oklahoma. We were there fogging these cars. Gas Rondas, funny cars. This is a GT90 Ford one-of-one supercar. Really amazing stuff to see. This is a V12 out of the GT90. There's 2 on the earth. That's one sitting right there. And, just amazing to get the tour. Gary Stinnett and Brent and did a little bit of shoot how to apply Foggit to your classic car collection. And then spent a little time getting lunch over there and just thought this is like as Hot Rod Magazine cover as it gets, or Cartoons Magazine or something. But had a great time out there. And thanks to Brent for the invite to come out and run all over his collection. We had a great time. A great time was had by all. All right, let's see what everybody says. Yeah, Jeff says Foggit. Certainly. Great show as usual, says Art. Officially over the hill. Happy birthday, Joe. Thank you very much, Derek. Thank you to everybody with the birthday messages. And I saw that some people have this birthday as well. My friend Josh Friedman has this birthday. Corey Mack. Happy birthday, Corey Mack has this birthday. FDR had this birthday. A lot of folks sharing this birthday, January 30th. I love it. Aquarian, does it mean anything? Not really. I don't know. But thank you very much for the kind words. Those of you who have had kind words, I appreciate it. 51, right? Yeah, it is what it is. Angelle was so happy and relaxed when I saw her in Vegas last year. It was nice to see, says Selena. I agree, Selena. She's been through the past 2 seasons were a bit of a difficult situation for Angelle. And she has a 3-time champion and one of our great celebrity drivers. Like, she's beloved by so many people. And not everybody always rooted for Angelle either. She won over a lot of people with her staying power and her great success. I think driving an A fuel car and ultimately a top fuel car is going to be amazing. And top fuel, now that Billy Torrance is out there, not that Billy changes anything. It was already going to be a great year, but that's just another championship caliber car. And Billy Torrance, don't play. He is not out there to be an R&D car. He wants to win. Billy Torrance wants to win. And I'm excited about what we got going on. Onto another tier of life. Hit the like button, WFO people. Likes and shares and comments on the YouTube page, all very helpful to getting the show out there. We've had some decent numbers here at the start of the season. We want to grow. Remember, the WFO app going away, so resubscribe to the podcast. Happy for Angelle. She will do great. I know she's going to do great. I called George Bryce. Where was I going? I was going to Brainerd. No, he called me. And we just had a great conversation. I said, hey, what about this? That she's going to do very well. There's going to be a learning curve, of course, figuring things out. But she's going to do what it takes to do well. And that you can't outwork her, is what George said. You can't outwork her. And if there is something that's tripping her up, whatever it is, she'll work her way through it. And that's the sign of a champion, right? Not going for it on fourth down. Have a great birthday, Joe. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate you, bud. I am. I'm having a great birthday. Tuesday birthdays are never cool. It's just another day. WFO, happy birthday. Everybody saying happy birthday to me. Excellent show as always, Joe. Now I feel special. Thanks. Thank you, Steven. I'll send you your shirt, by the way. Steven's at Patreon. Going to get a shirt. Great, Joe. Great show today, says Monica. We got new shirts up in the WFO store, by the way, if you want to get some WFO swag. Mark Banks, thank you very much. My sister Becky celebrates her birthday today, says Lonnie. Well, thank you very much, Lonnie. Happy birthday to your sis. Earl Nichols, happy birthday, 51 and holding. Well, Matt in Australia on the Ignition Show says now you start counting down, right? 49 till 100, 48 till 100, 47 till 100. How old are you? I'm 49, away from 100. I don't know. I've been fortunate to, some people mistake me for a little younger than I am, but age is really just a number. Honestly, it makes no difference. How about Roger Penske, 86 years old? Roger Penske, that guy, if you want to look at someone who has defied age, and age is just a number, he is still going like an Energizer bunny and having great success. Last time they won in 1969, goes out and wins Rolex with Porsche. You only have one birthday. All the others are just anniversaries, I guess. But that's just like unnecessary. Let people have their birthday, man. What is that? Some sort of, modern crap, right? No, technically it's not really a birthday. It's just your anniversary of your one birthday. And so you got to get it right. That sounds like political correct, Brett and Rhonda are great friends of mine in the motorsports world. Well, yeah, they were great. Ricky had a great time over there. 9 on you. Gary's 9 years older, only 3 likes. Come on, folks. Way to go, Lonnie. Listen, people, likes and shares. We'll get them to do it. You're still a young buck to me. Right? What's up, Maria? Vance and Hines was never good for her. Not everything is going to work out. Nothing, and not everything is going to work out well, but makes you stronger. You go through difficult times. You don't learn anything from being comfortable. Those are all statements that have proven true over the years. And so what she went through over there got her to this, and she seems pretty happy. And I think that this could end up being, believe it or not, like one of the biggest chapters of her life. Looking forward to kicking off D2 in Orlando in a few weeks, Tony. Yeah, me too, Tony. I got to enter that thing. Right? As of this moment, I'm going to race it in Super Street, sort of. I'm just a few months behind you, Joe. Yeah, we're plowing our way through. Redefining what age is. Redefining. Life's a Drag is out there. The Life's a Drag guys. You guys going to do a podcast this week? Life's a Drag? Come on now. And Jill Donovan. Agreed. There it is. It has been a great year so far, and we haven't even started yet. I'm so excited for the Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gator Nationals. I'm very excited about the Division II race in a couple of weeks. Obviously, the pro race is going to be incredible. Someone's going to roll out of there with $250,000. That will change the season, right? Financially. Who could get it? Could an underdog possibly get it? Like, who's going to get that money? It's going to be very interesting. Tony says, we're thrashing to finish our new top dragster. Well, don't cut any corners, Tony. But yes, Speed World Dragway, Orlando, going to be great. And all the testing that's been going on out there in Bradenton at 514 was a shocker. Lyle Barnett wins the Snowbirds. Way to go, Lyle. Congratulations. Just good stuff. And that's the thing about the Sunshine State. We have sunshine. Like, we can keep racing December and January and February. And that's ultimately the plan for Project Pontiac. To get out and do some bracket racing in the wintertime and hit the Orlando Divisional and Gainesville Baby Gators in the future and run a little super street. That is the intention. And it's been pretty cool. The heads and intake are at Wilson Manifolds. The block has arrived at Gary Stinnett's. We are advancing the ball. And things are coming together for the old heap, Project Pontiac. Super excited. All right, guys, thanks to Angelle. Thanks to Alan Reinhart. Tomorrow, I should have been promoting this the whole show. Ron Capps, 12 noon. Ron Capps. What are we going to talk to Capps about? Well, Capps, Capps has always got something going on. But in particular, I want to talk a little bit about Roland and Don. Capps worked so closely with both of them. And it's kind of a tradition. We have Capps on at the start of the season to preview his season of NHRA Drag Racing. So join us tomorrow at 12 noon. Follow Twitter. We'll let you know when it's all going down. Thanks to Reinhart. Thanks to Angelle. See you next time, WFO.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.